Dear listener, today I want to share with you what I believe is the highest way to live a life. A way of living that rises above the restless chase, the petty anxieties, and the vain measures of success that so many of us grew up thinking were everything. Once, I believed that having money and power would let me stride through the world like royalty. I thought praise from others, applause and admiration, a life where everyone seemed to gather around me. That would be the pinnacle of living. I imagined that if you had status and wealth, people would beam at you, doors would open, and life would feel easy and grand. Once, I believed that finding one true love, someone who would never leave, who would always treat me with respect and gentleness, would be the greatest blessing. I longed for a love so steady that there would never be shouting, never friction, just mutual understanding, a shoulder to lean on when tired, a hand to hold when troubled. That was what I thought love should be. Once, I believed that every sacrifice and effort would be rewarded. Even if the returns were modest, there would still be some harvest. At the very least, I told myself I would not be cheated or shortchanged. So I gave and I gave, waiting patiently for the payoff. But sometimes waiting leads to emptiness. Sometimes nothing comes back. The disappointment that follows can be sharp and bewildering. Once, I believed that the little flowers I planted in my yard would always bloom on time. They might not be spectacular, but their fragrance would fill the air and comfort the heart. That small, steady beauty seemed enough. Once, I dreamed that when I grew old, I could withdraw from the noise of the world. I pictured myself with the one I loved, retreating to a quiet cabin in the hills or a modest farmhouse in the countryside, living simply, waking to the crow of a rooster, returning home at sunset, leaving past troubles and entanglements behind. I thought the past would fade and that peace would finally be mine. Now, having walked farther along life's road, I finally understand. Effort does not always equal reward. As the ancients say, do good deeds without asking about your fate. If you spend your life waiting for reward, that waiting itself shows a lack of generosity in your heart. Wanting success is a posture of the mind, not always the final outcome. True success is the ability to accept failure without being undone. True success is not braggadocio when things go well, nor despair when things fall apart. It is living with neither arrogance nor servility, steady and composed. All love, whether it is true or not, tends to mellow over time and become like water, calm, deep, and plain. The initial heat and frenzy cool down. Along the way there will be shouting, petty quarrels, and times when life feels like a mess. That is normal. Every family has its hidden troubles. It's a constant of human life. Like a spell, these troubles can bind people together and pull them apart. Old age rarely unfolds exactly as we wish. Retiring to a quiet farmhouse is often only a romantic hope. You may be willing to withdraw, but those who love you may not be ready to follow. No one can fully convince another to live the way you want. What tends to happen is a series of small concessions. Everyone yields a step, endures a little. If you put up with it long enough, the years pass. Having someone by your side can make any place feel like home. Not every tiny yard has flowers. Not every planted bud opens into bloom. Some flowers remain half-closed and then wither. They turn brown and rot. The most elevated way to live, the life at the highest level, is to be able to smell the flowers without sighing over joy or sorrow, without asking about success or failure, without fighting for every hour. When you have passed through the greater half of life, you may suddenly realize that the meaning of existence is not as large as you once thought. The more you chase, the more troubles you accumulate. The faster days fly, the closer you come to life's end. Everything you own will eventually be like a cloud passing by. Nothing truly belongs to you forever. At the end, everyone returns to the same dust. Life is brief. Time moves quickly. Choose to walk slowly, more slowly still. Close your eyes for a moment. Let your mind be quiet. Suddenly a breeze carries the faint scent of flowers. You do not know where it comes from, nor where it goes. It simply lingers in your heart. Only when you have let go of everything do you finally smell that fragrance. Then you realize that life is neither about sorrow nor about joy, neither about success nor failure, nor about every dawn and dusk. Give without expecting return. No return is also an outcome. Loving someone does not guarantee a lifetime together. Looking upon someone without being too near or too far can be a kind of happiness. The flowers you once planted may or may not bloom. What matters is that the act of planting lifted your spirit. That itself is a fragrance. If you fail, you can always try again. If someone is meant to share your path, speak and savor it. If not, say nothing. Life is a journey. If you go with the attitude of wherever I arrive is fine, you will learn how to adapt and accept. Come and go without clinging. Accept mistaken starts and unattainable endings with calm. Then you will understand everything about leaving things to fate. Love and hatred, grievances and passions, they are all born from a single thought. If you do not summon them, they will fade. The ups and downs of life are simply the road you walk. When you do not care about your rank or position, peace follows. The Buddha said, "Destiny is shaped by oneself, and one's face is born of one's heart." Everything in the world is a reflection. If your heart is still, what can external winds do? If your heart is restless, the world's beauty will decay into dust. No matter how vast the world is, your space is still a small corner. No matter how good life looks, it passes like a blink. No matter how bitter it becomes, it will also pass. No one brings anything into this life or takes anything out. No one is eternal. Compared to the world, we are but a speck of dust. Compared to the cosmos, we are a wisp of smoke. The highest way to live is to cultivate desirelessness. When others scheme, gossip, argue, and scramble, keep your own heart kind and steady. Live your days quietly and honorably. If you can look yourself in the mirror with a clear conscience, you have already succeeded in a large way. As the proverb says, reality grows from the heart. Whether one is in a smooth or difficult season is not absolute. A cheerful person in trouble may not feel so pained. They can still smile. A person in a smooth season who always sulks is not unblessed. They simply cannot see their own fortune. Life is training. It is a discipline of mind and will. Use wisdom to view the world. Once you develop certain ways of thinking, life will grow smoother. A wise person habitually chooses to think the best of things. Fortune and misfortune often come together. Life has an energy conservation law of sorts. Gains offset losses. So, do not exaggerate one setback into ruin. Change your thinking, and you may find yourself at the turning point. Hard times are often the soil of renewal. The peak precedes a downhill. What you lose might return in another form. What you gain may not be what you truly need and might be lost later. Happiness and hardship balance each other. Therefore, do not imagine everything to be bleak. If you angle your mind to the good, difficult times may reveal themselves as blessings on the rise. When bad things happen, interpret them kindly. First, you comfort yourself so your mind does not collapse. Second, you calm yourself so you can escape destructive emotions. If something is beyond comprehension, stop spinning your wheels. The Buddha said, "See clearly, let go, and understand." When you finally let go, life becomes simply a thing among things. Yet the road is full of surprises, and there are some problems that simply will not be solved by thinking, even until your head aches. Sometimes it is wise to be a little muddled. If you force yourself to figure everything out and to overinterpret every tangled romance or every slight and hurt, you will exhaust your heart. There is little use in endlessly pondering people who have left you. If someone has moved on, constant longing only sharpens your pain. Stop. Redirect your love toward those who are worthy. Emptying your mind is a reprieve. It lightens your burden. Home matters, workplace matters, relatives, and community. If you think about every single one, you would be lost in days. Especially in the digital age, endless information comes like a flood. Be like a passerby. Look, but do not be consumed. When you're about to get angry, take 3 minutes to cool down. Anger is life's greatest enemy. If you are always angry, you are only harming yourself, mind and body. You may even fall ill. Often, anger is only a 3-minute flare. After 3 minutes, things look different. Your mood has cooled, and you can reframe the situation. Many tragedies in people's lives come from acting in the heat of anger. A kind person might push someone in a moment of fury and cause harm that ruins both lives. Think, is a moment of rage worth a lifetime of regret? Learn silence and restraint. Reserve time for private reflection. People are different. Do not measure yourself by another's words. Others will not understand you fully, and they may speak lightly of matters they do not grasp. Rely on yourself when things matter. Better to say little than to speak excessively and bring trouble. Those who speak less often have clarity as observers. They see clearly, but they keep it hidden. Leave room in your words. Independent thought is a rare and powerful thing. Learn to identify your shortcomings and to recognize the blessings in your life. Then, moving forward, be someone who is not lost, not confused. When your heart is at ease, life aligns. Think, aside from birth and death, most things are small. If you can release petty worries, you will have a life of blessing. People who grow steadily in life tend to share certain mental habits. Their hearts are calm. Everything flows. Life is precious. Do not waste it. Choose the life you love and walk slowly. Along that path, smell the flowers. Do not speak of grief or joy. Do not ask about success or failure. Do not steal present hours for anxiety. If it pleases you, that is enough. Why are you distressed? Your worries often arise because you cannot attain certain loves, certain material comforts, or certain fortunes. You cannot win some battles in career or life. You lack a warm family. In short, your suffering comes from attaching too much to material gain and neglecting spiritual joy. The saying goes, let go of a thought and everything falls into place. It sounds good, but few can truly do it because clinging is the heart's frequent condition. There's a line in an old poem, a fleeting fortune gained by strife, though won, it is lost, a long life passes by in a blur. This means that chasing riches that are not truly yours often costs more than it brings. You exhaust yourself to obtain something, and in the end you find it empty. Even a long life, if filled with relentless chasing, is wasted. Think of the things people pack into their lives. Exercise equipment gathering dust in a corner, boxes of items that never fit, shoes you never wear. At the end of your life, much of the fight for possession seems trivial. When you refuse to fight for meaningless things, your heart grows light. Life becomes smooth. There is no absolute good fortune or misfortune. It depends on your heart. Remember the old story of the man whose horse ran away. Neighbor said it was a loss, but he said maybe not. Later the horse returned with another horse, and the neighbor celebrated, but he said maybe not. Then his son rode a horse and broke his leg, saving him from military conscription. The neighbors offered sympathy and said it is misfortune, but he said maybe not. Good and bad turn in a breath. Learn from this old man, attitude matters. Look at both sides, not one. If someone who loved you departs, perhaps someone deeper love will come. If money is lost, you are pushed to keep working and grow. If disease visits, it may make you appreciate a partner's care. Even a fall gives you a lesson. I remember something that happened in my community. A father withdrew a sum of money and gave it to the younger son. The elder son felt slighted, and the dispute escalated into physical fighting among father and sons. Later, the father realized his mistake, took back the money, and quietly left with most of it. The sons resented him and slowly distanced themselves. But with time, the father let go of his grievances. He started spending his days at the neighborhood chess table, content. He lost money but gained peace. He learned the cold and warm currents of human relations and learned to let go. When you are troubled, read a line from the classical book and let it go. Do not contend for riches. If they are yours, they will not evade you. If not, you cannot hold them. Keep your heart steady. Do not waste life chasing matters that do not nourish the spirit. Value the inner joy. Stop clinging to old husks and rancid seeds. The past is not worth perpetual distress. I once heard of a businessman who failed and went to the river to end his life. He stood on the bank and thought long and hard, then leaped. The winter river had a sheet of ice under the surface. He struck it, injuring his knees, but did not sink and was rescued. He became a cripple for life, but he found new resilience and eventually rebuilt a normal life. That ice, by chance, saved him and taught him a hard lesson about life's changeability. Water is soft, yet ice is hard. To be like water, adaptable and yet capable of taking shape, is to be wise. The highest virtue is to be like water, benefiting all without striving, being what others dislike and thus staying unobtrusive, nourishing life without demanding praise. Water accepts any container, does not complain, reflects even in the ugliest bowl, and cleans away dirt without grumbling. Kindness earns respect. Even deserts have water if the conditions are right. If you accept and adapt, you can find value and aid anywhere. People help those who smile, not those who sulk. If you are generous like water, your heart becomes an ocean. What cannot be embraced then? When the heart widens, grief and failure become specks of dust. The person who acts like water achieves and steps back, without parade or boast. Spring rain quietly awakens life and disappears. Circling mountains, nourishing life, then joining the sea. That is humble greatness. Be like the mountain in determination and like water in softness. That is the balance. Hold fast and do not yield in principle. Bend when needed. Use goodness to absorb evil and transform it. That is a blessing. To wage evil against evil is an endless chain of resentment. To love deeply and give a lifetime is a blessing. To let those who love you come and to be unmoved by those who don't is senseless. The finest state of being is achieved when victory does not breed arrogance and defeat does not bring shame. Gains and losses are as they are. Love and hate are left to fate. Coming and going are free. Everyone seeks perfection, but we should accept imperfection. The incomplete parts of life are its blank spaces. Even heavy and light makeup both fit the occasion. The highest state is to be like water. Adaptable, abundant in forms, solid as ice, soft as mist, clear as glass, flowing as a brook, fierce as a river. Everyone is a drop. Within each heart is an ocean. This concludes today's sharing. Thank you for listening. I look forward to your comments and your sharing. May these reflections accompany you, and may every day bring a new insight. Here, you are never alone. ChatGPT CA